Can they be the top of the region?
Triple DPS setup coming out here for Darksided. Turmo going to be taking the Widowmaker. No, Mooney does decide to swap off onto the Winston, so fair enough. But USMC, I want to call you out on stream because he was in my stream earlier this morning saying, watch out for my Sombra. So,
all right,
let's watch out for his Sombra. This better not disappoint us.
Yeah. We're all hyped and ready to go.
Caramel Koala on the other side of Legacy also does pick up the Widowmaker, so it is going to be the Widow v Widow, Wuvo on the trademark, Genji as well. Fairly straightforward standard rosters coming out here for both teams. Nothing too crazy. A bit of damage done though on the Molotov there from the Widowmaker. Turbo though, the first loss, and Denj, that's not how it's supposed to happen.
That's not how it's supposed to happen indeed. But we've seen that a number of times so far this week. Maybe it'll continue to happen. Caramel Koala going hard, but the point capture going over to Legacy Esports here under the fire of this Widowmaker and picking it up relatively quickly.
Yeah, the infra site is built up for Caramel Koala as well. Should be using that one as soon as Darksided do start to make their way back into this point. And there it is indeed. Let's see if Caramel Koala can find any picks. As of yet, no shots fired. Probably has to back out now as the dive does come in. Maybe a little bit of an overcommitment actually there from Caramel Koala. That's not a good start to the fight. Darksided though, they do lose another player. Mooney going down there. And Wuvo, did he just get denied his ultimate? I think indeed he did. Swilko shutting that one down. That's not good news at all for Legacy Esports as Darksided start to claw their way back in here.
Strawbella almost about to go down. She should get picked up relatively quickly. And there we go. Turmo going strong, but getting picked up by Caramel Koala.
That's fine. That's fine. Turmo going down. Not a big deal. Legacy still trickling out onto the point as well. So Turmo should get back there. In fact, just a little bit before Dench does, given he does have a little bit of mobility on that Genji, where Dench doesn't really have that on the Zenyatta. The thing I want to point out about that, though, for Darksided is that they did not utilize a single ultimate. They didn't have any available, and that means, essentially, for this next fight, they're pretty much going to have 6 ults available to hold on to the point. Very tough now for Legacy to try and get in here. And Caramel Koala not finding any picks. The first 2 kills of the fight, though, do go the way of Darksided.
They certainly will. That Transcendence also able to come out. And for now, they will continue to hold this point. Legacy losing a number of players. Wuvo having to fall back. Darksided still have 1, 2, 3, 4 ready to go.
We used the EMP and the Transcendence out from Darksided. Only 2 to win a fight. Good stuff from them. Good ult economy usage. They're not bursting everything at once.
No.
Legacy still are going to have some troubles getting back in here, but they at least don't have the EMP to worry about. They can use their defensive support ultimates without really too much fear.
That's it. We will see Winston going ham there for now, going to knock everyone back, but so much damage now coming out from Legacy. This should allow them to turn it back around if they play it smart. Only 2 left by the looks of things, and Punk surely goes down there now. He's been demeched. Turmo goes down as well. And they will be able to recap and bring it back, stopping it at about 70%.
Yeah, there was a really early kill actually out in that one from Caramel Koala onto USMC, and you would notice after that fact, Darksided didn't actually use anything to try and contest that. I think they actually just kind of tried to buy themselves a little bit of extra time, kept the fight going, but they decided not to utilize any of their ultimates. They can come in here now and retake with all 4 of those ultimates available.
There we go. What's going to happen here? Wuvo bringing out the Dragon Blade, but forced back, trying to chase down this Sombra. But USMC picks up Caramel Koala as well. Mooney going to find a kill with the Winston. Primal Rage going very, very strong here. You'd like to think Darksided picks this one back up now and do so very, very quickly, Jordan. They did not allow them all that long on the point.
And that was really, again, excellent out from Darksided. They only utilized the sound barrier out from Swilko. By this time, we see the Transcendence has come up from Molotov, so they still have a defensive support ultimate up. But Darksided is not even really needing any of their ultimates to get in and try and retake these sites or hold this site. Turmo's been hanging on to that Dragon Blade for the last 3 fights.
Looking for the best time to use it. Infrasight comes out. We'll also hear the Transcendence being used as
Here
well.
It is.
Dragon Blade time, boys and girls, and Caramel Koala takes him out straight away.
That's a big pick, but is it going to be enough here for Darksided to lose the fight? Legacy seem to be dropping players across the board. They don't even need Turmo with that Dragon Blade. Caramel Koala did get 1 nice kill in that fight, but not able to follow up with anything else. And that's going to be Darksided holding on to the point. Round 1 does go their way. And I got to say, despite the fact that it was 100% to 80, which on paper looks really close, I feel like Darksided absolutely demolished Legacy there.
Yeah, it did not feel like a 180 that maybe we would see in a different game. And when you talk about that ult economy and how much they're using, if you can get away with using 2 or less ultimates every fight, then you're almost always going to have 2 ults ready to go.
Yeah, and the fact of the matter is that Darksided gave up a point there as well. They gave up a fight.
Yeah.
They allowed an extra amount of time over to Legacy. Said, look, we don't mind. We can retake this in the next fight. We're not worried. So that kind of inflated the percentage there for Legacy in round number 1. Let's see this time, though, if things are going to be any different, as it is going to be the Pharah and the Mercy combo for both rosters, as you expect to see here on Lighthouse.
A Sombra to Tracer, really the difference here. We'll have to see how that plays out for them. Winston up against Winston. Mooney not taking too much damage with so many heals coming up, but for now, a little bit stuck there. We'll have to jump away.
Termo raining down the fire with that Pharah. No real crucial picks just yet. Both the Winstons go down.
Oh.
Termo! He destroys Wuvo. 2 air shots coming out. Good stuff from Termo. That might be the straw that breaks the camel's back now for Legacy. And that's a great poop as well. Is not going to get the kill onto the Tracer. No, of course not. The rewind does come across, but doesn't matter anyway. Caramel Koala will go down. Termo's doing so much work right now on Pharah.
Yeah, and Termo was down to like 44 HP as well. Still managed to
Who needs
stay
HP,
alive.
mate? All you have to do is kill.
Well, that's it. Just got to stay alive. Doesn't matter if you're on 1 or 200. So, this looking very good now for Darksided. Termo really pushing forward and making life a little bit difficult here for Legacy. If he can win this battle right now, that would be more than ideal. You can hear a hack coming out as well. Maybe Winston on Cinderella.
Termo just continually shutting down the Tracer with the buffed up rockets. So much damage and very difficult to deal with as a Tracer. He's also, I feel, winning this Pharah duel, so he's having a lot of an impact on the air and on the ground.
Strawbella ready here with the Valkyrie, should she need it. But her team really needs to push forward, needs to find a point. 50% is where it's going to tick over to in just a moment. Already halfway to losing this map, Jordan.
Well, a lot of big ultimates up for Darksided as well. The only one missing is USMC, which was used earlier on in the piece, but 5 there for Darksided. Now 4, and it's going to be Termo dropping the rocket barrage. Not really getting too much damage out of that. Does D-Mech Diva. Skull going to be running around on Baby Diva for the moment. Hasn't died just yet. And the point does actually flip over to Legacy, but I don't believe Darksided are going to be particularly worried about that, as they are still winning that fight, and the flip comes across straight away once more. Here's a chance for a stagger. Mooney will surely be able to take down the Mercy. And that's going to take a long time to respawn for Legacy, so they really only have time for about 1 more push here.
Yeah, nice use of the Primal Rage. If we take a look, what does Legacy have available? Both Skull and Cinderella will be able to use their ultimates, but I don't know if it's going to be enough here. It's going to be very difficult for them to get back on this point. And what can USMC do here with a hack potentially onto the Diva? There we go. Diva doesn't do all that much once you hack her, but
up to 83% ult charge as well for USMC. Needs a bit of a heal up here, but he could have his EMP up just in time for Legacy, pushing in all onto that point, trying to contest, and that is really not a fun place to be fighting when you're up against the Sombra. Everyone's going to be grouped up so much. 94% for USMC, still waiting for that EMP. Not that it really seems like it's going to matter here. Finally, he does have it up, gets it off. I don't think it's going to be a super impactful one, all things considered. Darksided were winning the fight anyway. Mooney coming up with 2, maybe even 3 here, as he does try to finish off the Baby Diva. He'll get that as well. Darksided, this is going to be 2-0 for them on Ilios.
yeah, there's very little you can do really when you're forced to jump into that point and try and keep it alive. It makes a very difficult situation to fight into, and as you said, Darksided will pick up Ilios, doing so 2-0. What is our play of the game, Swilko?
It's always going to be a Lucio boop or something like that. Cool. Maybe it's not. Oh, this will be a boop. Yeah, the Diva goes flying off there.
See you later.
So yes, it is going to be a Lucio boop. Not on Lighthouse. I did think it was going to be on Lighthouse.
Me too.
If I'm honest. But regardless, doesn't matter. 2-0 for Darksided. That's what we really care about here, not the play of the game. Moves us on to Hybrid now, with Darksided starting off with a pretty convincing result here. I'm feeling fairly comfortable in my 4-0 prediction already.
Darksided looking very, very good right now. So if you're a Legacy player, what do you do at this point? Do you feel like you're going to struggle to try and bring this one back? They should theoretically be able to bring this back to one or maybe two maps if they're lucky, but it's going to be tough.
Yeah, the real question for Legacy was going to be all around how this new roster was going to work, because they did have, of course, that core from the Stunner fan club coming through, but there's a couple of changes, and some people are saying that this is going to be looking like a little bit of a weaker roster than what they did have before. But for Legacy, it's still going to be, in theory, good enough to be sitting towards the middle of the pack of contenders. They're going to still be surely able to make their way through to contenders. It's just a bit of a struggle given the fact that they are going up against one of the best teams in the region in their first matchup. Very similar to the kind of scenario that Kanga did face yesterday.
It does make it hard, and I guess something else we can talk about is when you do get picked up by an organisation like Legacy, there's a lot that I guess can be gained, and of course an organisation like Darksided, that it's great to see some of these teams getting picked up by bigger organisations within the Australian region. There's a lot to learn, there's a lot of experience that the people who work in these orgs have that can help you, whether that's through, trainers or through, just team bonding type things. There's a lot to gain. Well,
we will see whether or not that is going to play a part, and of course that coaching staff behind them, maybe giving them a bit of insight as to what maps they need to pick here, given that they have lost that first one. So let's see what they do decide to go for. It is going to be Hollywood again for us today. I'm not particularly worried about that one for Darksided, if I'm honest. And to add some context maybe to why I'm fairly confident in saying that this could be a 4-0 for Darksided.
Please tell.
Obviously not to mention those good results that we saw recently from Darksided last week in the Overwatch Community Tournament. Also the good results in their playoffs and in their Open Division season. There was a little bit of a podcast that was put out about a week ago, and there was a player of Darksided featured on that podcast. It was Molotov, who is the support player here for them. And he said, and I quote, "We will be disappointed if we don't 4-0 them." And by them, he was referring to Legacy. So obviously Darksided feeling very comfortable coming into this matchup. And I think that's within good reason, given the fact that things have gone so well for them so far. And again, the trend continues of the defensive start. Look at this aggressive push out though from Termo. Going to try and get a bit of a damage out early. Going to try and get some ult charge early off. Doesn't really work out too well for him. I think Skull was blocking the rockets that did come out, but I like the intent.
Darksided will decide to start this one off on attack. What can Caramel Koala do? We saw how much work Tracer could do from behind before. Will it be the same case here on Hollywood once again? For now, not the case. UMC will take down Cinderella.
Yep, that very famous Sombra that he's been harping on about all week has come to the fore here, starting off with a nice pick for Darksided. Another one there onto Wubo. So he's certainly making that one work. Really charging that ultimate up fairly quickly as well, up to 51% already. Darksided being fed a lot of ult charge in that fight, and Legacy trailing a little bit behind. However, Strawbella is going to be looking like she will have a very early Transcendence up. 94%. Maybe that can be the difference.
Yeah, potential there to make a big fight of it very, very quickly. Cinderella up against USMC. Translocator required to get out of dodge this time around. But so far, not too much coming out from Legacy at all. Oh, and missing the jump. That's also less than ideal.
Yeah, it just feels a little bit like this dive composition from Legacy is slightly uncoordinated. And by uncoordinated, I don't mean like they're bad players, but I mean like they're not coordinating their timing as well as they could be. You saw Wuvo go in there early, gets picked off, then Cinderella comes in and jumps a little bit later, perhaps a little bit too late there, or maybe Wuvo was a little bit too early. Hard to say. The fact of the matter is the timing is not right for Legacy right now. They're really just charging into Darksided, feeding ultimates over. It's 6 ultimates to 2 available right now for Darksided. And Legacy, so far, have really not even made any inroads into this point at all.
No, not one tick, not even half a tick. It has not been impressive. USMC not able to hack quick enough, unfortunately. The Transcendence comes out, but surely Legacy can't push through this with just 1.5 ultimates here. Termo brings out the tack visor.
That's 5 ults from Darksided in that fight. Wow. Termo gets 4 kills, obviously off the back of the tack visor, but a lot of investment actually out from Darksided, and Legacy really didn't put too much into that one actually, only Strawbella's ultimate, so Darksided might have gone a little bit too ham on that fight. We'll see how the next one does work out, but I think they could have managed their ult economy just a little bit better.
Yeah, probably didn't need to spend all that much on that particular fight, particularly when USMC had the The EMP ready to go. The dive comes back in. Here comes the ultimate from D.Va. Self-destruct picks up no one, but Wubo finds two, including the Mercy. That's pretty big. This might allow Legacy onto the site and should be able to get them the cap now.
Yeah, just a little bit too much invested in the first fight there from Darksided. Molotov does get a nice fadeaway actually onto Wuvo, but he's going to be staggered a little bit there. Shouldn't matter too much because it's going to take time for Legacy still to cap that first point up. But I really like that from Legacy. They kind of almost dry pushed for that first push. Obviously, Strawbella using the ultimate there. But aside from that, everyone held on to theirs. Wuvo had nothing to really worry about when he was using his. Looks like Darksided might even try and contest this one. Maybe not. Not sure about that one from Mooney.
They're definitely trying to contest, and it's costing Legacy quite a bit of time. Let's see what happens once they win.
That's a lot of ultimate charge again, just straight over to Legacy. So, I don't know. I don't know if that was necessarily worth it from Darksided. Like you said, they do buy a fair bit of time there, 30 seconds or so, but maybe that's going to come back and bite them as Legacy will start charging their way into the second phase of the game in the streets.
Yeah, just coming through town.
USMC will have EMP up shortly.
There we go. Caramel Koala out here with the Widow. Would love to find a free kill right now. You can see that Legacy have actually pushed a very long way forward.
Yeah, it's
only
very
leaving,
weird
by the looks of it, one person on the payload as well, which is now contested, so going to have to come back and fight this.
Dench was the one that was sort of sitting on the payload alone there, and so Legacy have kind of overcommitted a bit to that one. They give up their support that was sitting there on his Lowsome, trying to push the cart. This is going to allow Darkseid to re-aggress. Wuvo does get his ultimate off and gets a couple with the Dragon Blade, but I don't know if that's actually going to be enough for Legacy to continue this push on forward. In fact, it is, as they do manage to wipe Darksided there, but there was a lot invested into that fight there from Legacy. Darksided, not so much. Termo does swap off the Soldier after utilizing the ultimate there onto the Genji. So it is a real full dive comp now out from Darksided in effect. And that is going to be in response, of course, to the Widowmaker.
Yeah, a number of ultimates ready to go here now for Darksided. Caramel Koala ready with that Empress side as well. But Winston with the Primal Rage pushes through. Punk going to throw out as well. We'll see how this plays out. Will the Mercy go down? Not right now. Oh, there we go. Great work as he's forced back off the roof, but did what he needed to do.
Yes, Wilco going down there. Pretty of a big deal right now for Darksided. Their healing is going to be affected quite significantly. Wubo under a lot of pressure, but the res comes out from Mercy onto the Lucio, and Wubo is going to be healed up. Here comes another Dragon Blade out from him. Going to look for some more damage. And he does get 2 kills. Termo and Mooney going down. That secures the fight 100% for Legacy. They will continue the payload push forward and secure the second point.
Wubo has had a number of good Dragon Blades so far, Jordan. I feel. A couple of the time, every time we've seen it. And once again, we see Legacy capturing all the way through and pushing through very far forward to see how much they can gain. This time it looks like maybe it'll work out for them, managing by the looks of it, maybe to get both of these tanks if they can pick up the D.Va. If Punk goes down, there we go. D-Mech and surely cleaned up as well. This is going to make life tremendously difficult now for Darksided to hold this. Maybe they're going to be forced out to use some of these ultimates in less than ideal situations to try and stall it.
Yeah, I mean, there's not a huge amount of time, though, still for Legacy. Like, Darksided did a really good job on the first point of holding them at bay. They've sort of slowed them down a little bit there, just past the second. And USMC here with the EMP could come up big in this fight. There it is. And this might just be what Darksided need to stall that payload. Termo does get his Dragon Blade off as well, doing a lot of work with that one. Caramel Koala dove upon by Mooney on the Winston. And that should be Darksided securing this point. They utilize quite a few ultimates there, though. And Mooney, the only one with one available. Legacy, they've done a good job there. You know, they haven't obviously won that fight, but they've forced a lot of ultimates. And again, I kind of feel like Darksided have really committed a little bit too much to a single fight.
Yeah, they do seem to have a habit of throwing just that little bit more than they need to. The Primal Rage will come out, but Wubo's managed to find 2 kills here potentially putting them in a great position to push this one through. Infosite is ready, runs again.
Doesn't need
Strawbella, she's gone down.
Caramel Koala can hold on to this one. This is already a winning fight right now for Legacy. Can utilize it. Next fight. Oh, Turbo! What a great deflect. Caramel Koala. That's a little unfortunate. Knocking yourself out of the fight, but it doesn't really matter too much. Legacy are still going to come away with the fight win, and the payload will continue on uncontested. Now, we will probably go through to overtime here for Legacy, but they have an excellent chance of actually finishing off this map, getting all 3 points. No one from Darksided has their ultimate. A couple getting close, but they're still not just yet there. And Legacy, 4 ultimates available. Caramel Koala does have his already on, and Dench just coming up.
There we go. We see a number of ultimates used, both the self-destruct and the sound barrier. So, how's this one going to play out? So many kills coming out from Legacy here.
Turbo.
It does kick into overtime, Elfishguy. What could Turbo do?
Not enough. He was chasing that soldier for so long, and only eventually did he manage to take him down, cut him apart. And that's a good push from Legacy. They do manage to get it done in overtime, but all 3 points captured. They should be relatively happy with that.
Yeah, I would like to think so. I would like to think they're happy with that. The key here, though, it's down to 0 seconds. So if Darksided can bring this through with time on the clock,
that's the key.
They get a shot.
And they very much could do that. Again, I think the real problem for Darksided is that economy management. The ults need to be managed a little bit better there on that defensive side. Maybe not going to be such a problem on the attack, but we will find out as we do see, once again, USMC going to be out on the Sombra. Keen to pick that one up. Turmo and Genji. Don't expect that Punk is going to be sitting on the Soldier for too much longer. We'll probably swap back off onto the D.Va. It's going to be just, again, the dive comp being run here by Darksided. On the other side of the coin, it's a little bit of a counter to that. The Orisa and the Roadhog once again with the Junkrat.
We've seen a bit of that so far
today. We have seen
today.
a bit of that. It's nice for just sitting on the point, being like a sentry turret, being too big of a problem to deal with. That, you know, sometimes you have to go for a little bit of a flanking route and try and find some picks before you can actually fully commit to a fight as a composition like what we have for Darksided. So we'll see if that's going to play into effect. Interesting thing, though, is that they do have the Ana instead of the Lucio. So one less defensive ultimate on the side of Legacy, which may be in relation actually to the fact that there is a very high likelihood that USMC is going to be picking up the Sombra. You're not going to have a fun time on Lucio when you're up against the Sombra. Either you lose the fight because you used your ult too early and it was cancelled, or you use your ult too late because you were EMP'd.
Sound barrier far less effective with an EMP around. So certainly something to keep in mind. It looks to me like maybe that is what they have done as we kick this one off. What can Darksided do? They managed to hold pretty well on defense. They seem pretty impressive there on Ilios as well, so maybe they can show us just how good they really are here up against Legacy. And straight away, we will see the D-Mech coming out there onto Punk.
Yep, good start there for Legacy. That's exactly what you want to be seeing out from the defensive side when you have a Roadhog. As soon as someone gets hooked, they need to die or they need to be D-Mech'd. The Roadhog's not always going to be able to do that alone, so it needs to be some good focus fire out from Legacy, and it was. Punk does actually go down on the mini D.Va. Maybe on purpose, just to get that mech up a little bit faster, I feel. Darksided are going to go ahead and have a look for their second push here. The first one certainly didn't really work out and might not even be worth calling a push. No. Hunt gets a bit lucky there, hiding behind the cars. Not going to be pulled in by the Roadhog, but here comes the dive, and it works out perfectly. Turbo, USMC, and Mooney getting involved. That's going to be the first point, 100% on the board for Darksided. So easy. They just get the picks like it's nothing. Yeah,
Darksided much better at that dive than Legacy were in the exact same situation. They're going to cap this with 2:45 on the clock, and as it ticks on up, the second part of this map is looking pretty easy for now. 5 minutes is a lot of time to work with to get it all the way through, and as we said, they can get through with time on the clock. The more time, the better, because all they'll need then is one tick of that first point once again. But let's not get ahead of ourselves. Still plenty of map to push through right now for Darksided.
Darksided deciding to push forward and get some control of the high ground early on in the piece. They've left Swilko on the cart to keep the cap going, and USMC, oh, that's a little bit embarrassing. Does go down 1v1 to Dench. Might not have been 1v1, but that's what I'm going to call it.
Looks like.
But it's what it's looked like. But regardless, he does go down to the Lucio, which is not very fun at all. It's going to result in a little bit of a waterfall now, as Darksided forced off that payload.
Caramel Koala up here with the Widowmaker. See what can be done. Been quite a number of good Widow shots so far, but it's one of those things where once it stops working, it's less than ideal. So, Turmo can follow him out ready with this Dragon Blade as well. We've seen some good Dragon Blades as well. So I believe there's 5 ultis stacked ready for Darkseid.
Yeah, well, 6 basically.
I really hope for them that they use these better than what we've seen them use before.
Yeah, let's just hope to see USMC utilizing his EMP here and maybe a follow-up from one other player or something like that. That's probably going to be more than enough. In theory, it should be more than enough, given that Legacy doesn't have any ultimates up right now. Caramel Koala has used the Infrasight, but there are the ultimates coming out from Darkseid. Only 2 used, both the DPS this time. That's much better ultimate economy management from Darkseid as they are dispatching of Legacy.
And literally only those 2 ultimates used, leaving Darkseid in very good position. Mooney going to push through and push these supports all the way back.
Good stagger.
Strawbella, she'll go
stagger.
down. That's precisely what they wanted to see. Caramel Koala will get removed as well. So
a lot of free push time out for Darkseid.
Should get all the way to this point.
Legacy will be able to contest this if they want to. Does look like they want to. But the thing is, the trouble is, trying to get out of these choke points sometimes can be a real problem. They're going to go behind Skull with the defense matrix set up. Self-destruct does come out onto the point. Not too much damage done by that one, but here come the Resurgence. The counter push out from Darkseid as they try to find some kills. Wuvo does get his Dragon Blade off. 1 kill for him. Can he find another one? The reset does come across, but no, he can only get the one there. We saw, for a brief moment, USMC looked like he was going to go down, but the Translocator just gets him out of there alive, and that might be enough for Darkseid to survive here, although kills are coming across for Legacy, and we do see Darkseid fall back away from the point.
They do indeed, and they have used all of their ultimates now, Jordan. Legacy with a great push, a great decision to decide to try and contest that. They got out of there with relative ease. We saw the self-destruct come out, force everyone off the cart. Then the fight was reinitiated, and when it was, Legacy was in a prime position. So
the thing
nice
is, though, USMC is going to get his EMP up shortly, probably before the next fight. Turmo, also the Dragon Blade will come up just past the EMP coming up as well. So, that fight that we saw Darkseid win earlier on, all they used was the EMP and the Dragon Blade. Now that's what they're going to have again for their next committed fight. And Molotov finding an initial pick there onto Wuvo. This could be dangerous times ahead now for Legacy. The self-destruct just to try and buy some time. USMC gets out of there with the Translocator, but now all of Legacy are grouped up, available for that EMP, and there it is. Here comes Turmo as well. 2 kills already out from him. No, actually just 1, but it's going to be more than enough for Darkseid to wipe the floor again with Legacy. A complete wipe this time, all 6 down. And the respawns, there's going to be a couple of forward spawns there, I think, from Legacy. This is good push forward from Darkseid as they're going to try and punish this.
Yeah, this is precisely what Darkseid needs. Cinderella will drop back for now. Turmo pushes through. And here's so Mooney on the Winston. Nice work. Well done. You can see the Primal Rage now ready to go. They're going to gain so much ground all the way around the corner. 2:40 on the clock. And just trying to keep this D.Va alive for as long as possible.
Such good awareness out from Darkseid. They knew that Legacy died so quickly that they were going to be coming up in that initial spawn before the payload was capped by Darkseid. That's going to net Darkseid a lot of free positioning here. Legacy can't contest at all until it really gets all the way up in this street phase, in almost to the final cap.
They get very, very close, just about 30 minutes to go. There's the sound barrier coming out. USMC ready, and straight away uses that EMP. Punk finds 1. 3 players down now for Legacy. Strawbella picked up as well. Darkseid looking so strong.
Yeah, I got to again talk about USMC on his Sombra. He talked a big game to me, but he has definitely paid off for Darkseid in this one. Turmo really following up very well with those Dragon Blades as well. And some picks coming out from everyone across the board for Darkseid. This is looking really good. 1:46. They should be able to cap this one now. The trickle kind of coming out already for Legacy, but Wuvo does have a Dragon Blade available to him. As soon as the Transcendence is disappeared from Molotov, he's going to pop that one and see if he can turn things around in the favor of Legacy. So far, not really finding too much. Eventually does get Swilko as well as USMC, and might be able to follow up with a third here. Not quite. Still, he gets quite a lot of damage across there for Legacy. Darkseid may not be able to hold on to this just yet.
There we go.
They will. And they cap it. 1:20 on the clock. That's going to give them the opportunity to win map number 2.
Wow. So 1:20. They'll probably lose 20, 25 seconds of that getting into position. And then we'll see if they can do that dive comp again, because they were very effective. Yeah. Very effective first time through.
But do we see the Sombra off the bat here?
I just want quad tank. Let's go.
Is USMC going to default back to the Tracer for that faster ult charge? Looks like it is going to be the Sombra, which is fair enough. It's been very well executed by USMC so far. My question is going to be, will he have time to get an EMP off here? Does it even matter? Is the hack going to be enough? I mean, it was absolutely enough for Darkside when they did do that first push here on Hollywood. So you can't really fault the choices right now from Darksided, and the same kind of setup, exactly the same setup, in fact, actually, for Legacy as what they had on that first point last time. No, Wuvo decides to swap. What's he going to go for here? Junkrat. Okay, yes, it is the same setup, but it didn't work out for them last time.
It didn't, and I don't know, it feels like maybe it could have. Maybe, I don't know, maybe they can come back and they say, look, the reality is
maybe
that what we did should have worked, but we didn't play it right.
They didn't execute it as they wanted to. Maybe there was a minor thing that was the big difference we didn't see. Maybe someone was out of position, got picked off, and that kind of led to a snowball there for Darksided. Whatever the case, Legacy does feel confident with this defensive setup. Like I said, it didn't work last time, but they have another shot at it. They have the opportunity to tie map number 2 if they can full hold this one.
1 minute and 6 seconds on the clock. What's the play going to be? USC trying to come round the back, and he has successfully come all the way around the back. So let's see what the play is here, Jordan, because they are using up a ton of time, really only allowing themselves 1 or 2 fights. The dive is on. Mooney's up top here on the Winston, and Denture's gone down. Wuvo trades back. Strawbella's removed as well now. And 3 players go down.
Yeah, Darksided just got too many quick picks off there. Not only just the picks, but they also got so many players down low. And the only real response was the D-meching of the D.Va for Darksided, which is not really what Legacy needed there. So it's going to be 2-0 now for Darksided as they cap that one out. And I mean, Punk, yeah, like he lost his mech there, but realistically, if you're focusing down the D.Va in a dive comp, that leaves so much freedom for Termo and, of course, for USMC on the DPS to put the damage out that they needed to.
Let's see this Dragon Blade play. See, this is the one I think where we were watching and we're like, oh, Termo got a ton of kills, but he didn't actually
get the kills, but he got damage.
Yeah, that's right.
He got like 1 swing onto everyone, and then sort of everyone else was following up. Mooney actually, I think, got 3 kills in that fight.
Through doing the rest of it.
But yeah, Termo had an excellent game there on the Genji. USMC excellent as well on the Sombra. So overall, I got to give credit to both the DPS there for Darksided. They've done a good job. Definitely very well backed up by both the tanks as well. They were diving in. The dive comp was pretty much all they ran in that map, and it really worked to perfection there for Darksided.
Darksided looking very, very good here. So halfway through our last match of the game, of the day. We'll take that one. 2-0 up right now. Darksided versus Legacy. We'll take a break and come back right after this.